So I am relying on you to return the favor. Out of nowhere, my husband left me with his bills. He was never reachable, no matter how much I reached out to him. What am I going to do? I can't pay this huge amount. Nonetheless, I was rescued by people who were there for me when it appeared like all else had failed. Mom, it's going to be okay. That was my daughter. My name is Emily Johnson. I'm 35 years old. I live with my husband, Michael, go to work every day, and am just another woman caught in a housekeeping hustle. I met Michael at a matchmaking party that was supposed to be a way to make up for something. I was nervous, but Michael approached me assertively, and before I knew it, we were getting along well and exchanged contacts. After that, as we kept in touch, we became attracted to each other and then started dating. I never thought I'd end up dating a man I met at a matchmaking party. When we started dating, I mentioned Michael to my sister Elizabeth. Elizabeth laughed out loud and said, "You, dating a guy you met at a matchmaking party? I thought you'd quietly date someone from work." I've always been a quiet type, and even after I started drinking, I never went out for drinks with colleagues or friends. I'm surprised. Just went to fill the numbers, right? Yeah, when I showed her a photo of Michael, she exclaimed, "He's surprisingly handsome." After that, we talked a bit about each other's recent situations, and then parted ways. Elizabeth is single and doesn't have a boyfriend. Apparently, she prefers being alone, so she has no intention of marrying or getting a boyfriend. I thought that was one way of thinking, but now I want to think about the future with Michael. How happy would I be if our relationship goes well, we marry, and have children? Oh, yay. On the way back from talking to Elizabeth, my face naturally brightened. Years later, Michael and I happily got married. I remember bursting into tears when he proposed. We started living in a new apartment. We hadn't lived together before, so being with Michael all day was like a dream. We both worked full-time, so the time we came home varied, but still, we ate together and slept together. We made sure to spend a lot of time together. We had overlapping holidays, so we enjoyed lazy days at home or going out for drives, spending every day happily. Then a change came for us. We had a child. I will never forget the moment she was born. She was a very small girl, fitting perfectly in my arms. This must be what happiness is. The mood of celebration came all at once from our relatives. We named our newborn girl Bella. After Bella was born, I quit my job and worked hard every day as a full-time housewife. Michael, seeing this, helped with the household and child care despite being tired from work. "I'll take care of Bella. You rest." Thank you. I thought I was lucky to have married Michael, but years later, I realized that was a mistake. A few years after Bella was born, Michael suddenly quit his job. Michael explained to me why he quit his job. Apparently, he couldn't get along with his new boss and was feeling stressed. But I wondered, shouldn't he have discussed it with me first? Sure, if my husband is suffering, quitting is an option, but now we have a family, and we were just getting by on Michael's income. So he could have at least talked to me about it a little. This is so sudden. Did you find another job yet? Don't worry. I thought about that. His response was not very reassuring. Honestly, I was only feeling anxious, but I guess I had no choice but to trust Michael. Afterward, Michael quickly found a new job. That was a relief. I could go out and work too, but Bella is still young, and I didn't really want to make that choice. I just wanted to watch Bella grow up a little longer. How's the new job? Can you manage? Oh yeah, well, kind of. Did something happen at work again? Problems with your boss or colleagues? No, it's fine. Don't worry so much. Look, I'll take care of Bella. You go take a bath. Okay, thanks. Something seemed off, but I thought it might be too pushy to ask more, so I left Bella with him and went to take a bath. A few days later, Michael came home with a gloomy face. I wanted to ask if something had happened, but then I remembered that feeling from before. Yes, when Michael suddenly quit his job. Could he have quit again? I hoped my intuition was wrong, but that hope was quickly shattered. I quit my job. Why? It just didn't fit. The people at the company kept ordering me around. Being ordered around by someone much younger than me, I can't stand it anymore. I see. Well, you can just look for another one, right? I'll help too. Then Michael's face suddenly turned scary. He raised his voice at me. What's with that look? You don't like that I quit my job. You live off my money after all. Talking down to me when you're just a housewife. Saying that, he threw his bag onto the living room sofa. Hey, shut up. Michael scratched his head and took out a drink from the fridge. He drank it all at once as if to quell his irritation. I had never seen Michael like this before. At the same time, an indescribable fear struck me. I had no intention of talking down to him. I just offered to help. It seemed Michael was quite irritated, and after yelling at me for a while, he sat down heavily on the sofa. I was listening to Michael, not understanding what was happening. Was this the day the rift between Michael and me began? From this point on, Michael would repeatedly get and quit jobs. We ended up living without a stable income. Hey, maybe it's time to get a proper job. At first, I tried not to nag, thinking of Michael, but things had come to this, and I couldn't help but speak up. Shut up. You should earn the money then. You're relying too much on me. But Bella, I don't care. By this time, Michael had lost interest in Bella, treating her somewhat like a burden. He was genuinely happy when Bella was born, but he seemed like a completely different person now. No matter how much I begged, Michael wouldn't keep a job for long. After much thought, I decided to leave Bella with Elizabeth and start working myself. I'm sorry for leaving this to you. No problem at all. Let's have fun together, Bella. Sure. Bella had just started kindergarten, but I wasn't too worried. Part of it was because she was with Elizabeth, but Bella also seemed mature for her age. She would read newspapers and could even write stories with simple words. She was quiet and seemed wise beyond her years. Initially, I was honestly anxious. Would she be able to make friends? Could she communicate well with others besides me? However, it turned out there was no need for such worries, as she did make friends. As a parent, I felt very relieved. Given these circumstances, I judged it would be fine for me to start working. I got a job fairly easily. Thus, I began working full-time. The salary was quite good. With this, I could support the family even if Michael quit his jobs frequently. It was hard, but my coworkers were all kind, and I could enjoy working every day. A few years after I started working, Michael finally began to take his job seriously. Perhaps he found a workplace where he could settle down. That alone gave me some peace of mind. Simultaneously, I felt that Michael's mood was gradually improving. It was as if he had returned to the Michael I knew when we first got married. He began to show concern for me working full-time, asking, "Are you okay? Aren't you tired?" It was confusing because his personality had changed so much, but I thought maybe having a stable job gave him peace of mind, and I felt a bit relieved. Bella was growing up nice and healthy. By this time, Michael had become kinder to Bella and started playing with her as a father. Bella seemed to enjoy playing with Michael, which was heartwarming to see. However, I was still afraid to quit my job. Thus, I continued to rely on Elizabeth's help. Bella, is she okay? Doesn't she feel lonely? Nope, she's really good. As long as Bella was happy, that was all that mattered to me. I felt relieved and thought I should treat Elizabeth to a meal since I would continue to depend on her. A few more years passed, and Bella became a third grader, going to school happily every day. Our family relationship had improved back to how it used to be. The times when Michael and I were at odds seemed like a distant memory. It was such a smooth period for us as a family. During this time, Michael made a suggestion. Should we consider buying a new car soon? A new car? Yeah, the one we have is okay, but I think it's time. You know, maintenance is getting tough, and there's the smog check coming up soon. Indeed, the car we were currently using was getting pretty old. Every time the smog check came around, the number of fixes seemed to increase, and the repair costs were becoming a concern. Indeed, maybe it's about time. That's right, I thought you'd say that. So look, I got some catalogs. Wow, already. Thank you. I was a bit taken aback that Michael was already set on buying a new car, but we looked through the catalogs together. Bella, come here. Which car do you want to ride in? Michael called Bella over, and eventually, the three of us were flipping through the catalogs. However, I had no idea that this action by Michael would lead to a tragedy. A few months later, we finally decided on a car, and it was delivered. It was a brand new car costing over $30,000. The car loan was in my name. Normally, it would be in Michael's name, but his job history was so unstable that I feared he wouldn't pass the credit check. I resolved to work even harder from now on to pay off the loan. I thought Michael felt the same, but my thoughts were completely off the mark. Shockingly, Michael stopped coming home. He disappeared somewhere with the new car. Could Michael have been involved in some incident? While I was confused, I received a call. The caller ID showed it was from Michael. Hello, Michael. Where are you now? I was so worried that I raised my voice without thinking. Hey, don't shout like that. But you suddenly disappeared, and the car is gone too. I was worried whether you ran away or got involved in some incident. I desperately explained how worried I was about Michael, but Michael laughed off my concerns and revealed shocking news. Actually, I've fallen in love with someone else. I love her more than you. What? What do you mean? Just what I said. I found someone I like more than you. I filed for divorce, so don't bother me anymore. Divorce? This is too sudden. I didn't remember signing any divorce papers, but then I recalled writing them during a fight with Michael once. Signed divorce papers indicate intent to divorce. I regretted writing them in the heat of the moment. Oh, and there's the matter of my debt. Kind of your problem now. Debt. How much? About $600,000. You take care of it, will you? Saying that, Michael hung up. Is this even possible? Was that smile he always showed me all a lie? As I thought this, all strength left me. Mom, are you okay? Bella gently rubbed my back as I sat slumped on the floor. Yeah, I'm fine. Thank you. I said I was fine, but of course I was not. How am I supposed to live now, burdened with such a massive debt? $600,000 is just too much to pay off, and the car payments are in my name too. I quickly started searching for my ATM card. Shelves, cupboards, counter, locker. I searched everywhere I could think of, but it was nowhere to be found. My ATM card was nowhere to be seen. I opened the banking app on my smartphone. The balance was reduced. I had no memory of withdrawing any money. The only person who could have done this was Michael. I couldn't get through to Michael at all. It's no use. I was lost, feeling utterly defeated, but right now I needed to focus on earning money. There was no time to dwell on my worries, so I redirected my attention to work. I didn't want to worry Elizabeth, so I told her nothing. Of course, I didn't tell Bella either. A few weeks after Michael had run away, I lost consciousness at work. When I woke up, I was in the hospital. "Emily, are you okay?" "Ah, Elizabeth." "Bella." Bella was there beside Elizabeth. It seemed I had collapsed due to excessive stress. Moreover, I was forced to stay in the hospital for a few days for thorough examinations. Hospitalized. "Once you're discharged, we should talk about Michael. I've heard everything from Bella." "From Bella? Did you know everything?" "Yeah, I actually heard the phone conversation with Dad." I couldn't believe Bella knew everything. I wondered if Elizabeth would scold me after being discharged, which made me a bit gloomy. The next day, the examinations began. Then, to my shock, they found cancer. It wasn't too advanced, so they said I could get much better after surgery. So I underwent the operation. Afterward, I was discharged, which was good, but I wasn't in a condition to work for a while. I had no savings, no income, and on top of that, I needed to pay for the surgery and hospitalization costs. During this time, Elizabeth and Bella were the ones who helped me. Bella had detailed to Elizabeth about my situation and what Michael had done. Hearing this, Elizabeth was furious. She wanted to find Michael and make him pay for the debt and alimony. However, Michael's whereabouts were unknown. "We don't know where Michael is. How can we claim anything?" Then Elizabeth had a suggestion. "Michael had the car registered under your name, right? Since you're the legal owner, why not take it back first?" "Can we do that?" When I expressed my doubt, Elizabeth revealed something surprising. Actually, I found out where Michael works. It seemed that Michael was working at a company in the same building as Elizabeth. Elizabeth mostly worked remotely, but she said she saw him occasionally when she went to the office. If that was the case, then we should go to Michael right now. I was ready to confront him immediately. If we left him alone, he might disappear somewhere. However, Elizabeth stopped me. "It's reckless to go without a plan. I have a good idea. Well, not just me, but Bella and I." "Right plan." Elizabeth and Bella exchanged looks. I had no idea what they were planning. While I was staring blankly, Bella smiled broadly and said, "Don't worry, we've got it covered." What were they plotting? Even when I tried to find out, they wouldn't tell me. However, a month later, I found out what Elizabeth and Bella had done. While at Elizabeth's house, a call came in. Looking at the caller ID, it was Michael. I ignored the call once, but he kept calling persistently. Wondering what he wanted, I hesitantly answered, and Michael screamed in panic. "Help me." "What are you talking about?" "Just come quickly. I'm going to get arrested by the police if it stays like this." Michael then told me his current location before hanging up. Elizabeth and Bella, who had overheard the conversation, finally revealed their plan. Actually, we had filed a stolen vehicle report, and it was Bella's idea. Isn't that great? Bella blushed shyly. I thanked Elizabeth and Bella and headed to Michael's location. It was a park relatively close to our house. Michael was surrounded by police officers. He was likely being questioned. We went to where Michael was. We explained the situation to the officers, convincing them to leave. Afterward, Michael led us into the car and started talking. Inside, a strong-willed-looking woman sat in the passenger seat. She was glaring at us. "Man, I'm glad you came, but why did the police come to me?" Michael seemed clueless, making me sigh. "Because I filed a stolen vehicle report. The car is mine, after all." Huh, we're already divorced now. Michael is essentially driving around in a car that belongs to someone else. It's only natural that a theft report was filed. He probably never imagined such a scenario. Bella then confronted Michael, piling on the pressure. "Why did you leave us?" "Dad." Why did you leave us with all that debt? Why? Michael sighed wearily, but said nothing. Planning to stay silent? If so, I can have you arrested, you know. You've committed a crime by using my name without permission, right? With that, Michael started to open up bit by bit. The woman's name is Linda Carter. Michael had started working at a new company where Linda had recently been hired. They got to know each other at a welcome party and subsequently entered into a relationship. About 3 months ago, Linda became pregnant with his child. Indeed, Linda's belly was noticeably rounded. So you abandoned us for her. Abandoned is such a harsh word. But it's true that you left us suddenly. Elizabeth jumped into the conversation, causing Michael to look bewildered. Watching this unfold, Elizabeth pushed forward. Then Elizabeth started lecturing Michael about his past actions, saddling me with his debt, his attitude towards his family, quitting jobs frequently, and his quick temper. It was unclear whether Michael was feeling remorseful or not as he kept his head down in silence. Linda seemed irritated by Michael's silence. I also asked about the reason for the debt, but he wouldn't say anything. Impatient with the silence, Linda blurted out a shocking truth. He took out loans in your name to buy me loads of designer goods. It was really the best. The result of Michael buying things for Linda was a debt of $600,000. What could he have possibly bought? From the looks of it, he must have purchased several items worth millions of yen each. It was utterly ridiculous. However, what caught my attention was Linda revealing the reason for the debt. If she was in on it with Michael, divulging this would put her at a disadvantage. As I pondered this, Bella asked Linda a question. Hey, your belly is pretty big. Is it a baby? When is it due? In about 3 more months, I guess. Due in 3 months? But that doesn't add up. If she got pregnant 3 months ago, there's still a long way to go until the birth. Elizabeth seemed to have thought the same, pressing Linda further. Is that child really Michael's? It can't be, right? It's impossible for the baby to be born in 3 months. Whose child is it? Elizabeth was direct and to the point. Much to my surprise, Linda appeared ready to spill everything. Yeah, it's not Michael's child. I thought about hiding it, but it seemed like more trouble than it was worth, so I just let it out. You revealed the debt issue, too. Yes, I guess. Michael, you are of no use to me anymore. She said with a vulgar laugh. Being in this hellish situation made me feel sick. Michael looked at Linda incredulously, as if he couldn't believe what he was hearing. What do you mean by that? Just what I said. As Michael and Linda started arguing, the already dreadful atmosphere got even worse. But Elizabeth broke the tension. We call the police now. What? Why? You both don't seem to listen and seem to forget that using Emily's name for loans is a crime. Plus, driving around a car without permission. After all, Emily and Michael are strangers now. With that, Elizabeth instructed me to call the police. Despite Michael and Linda's frantic attempts to stop me, I continued with the call. Soon, the flashing lights of a police car appeared. This was the moment to finally hold them accountable for the debts in the car. Everything needed to be settled. I felt a sense of relief wash over me. Following these events, Michael and Linda faced legal repercussions. They didn't end up in prison, but were ordered to pay me compensation for damages, cover the debt, and provide child support. Despite their pleas through lawyers for a reduction, the final judgment was not in their favor. Especially since Bella had recorded their conversation in the car, which served as evidence. I wondered why Bella had recorded them. Upon asking, she mentioned that she got the idea from a drama she was watching with Elizabeth, where a conversation was secretly recorded. I couldn't help but admire Bella's smart thinking, while also wondering what kind of dramas Elizabeth was showing her. Now Bella and I are staying with Elizabeth. Our homes weren't far apart, so Bella's schooling was unaffected. Thankfully, the car was returned, and Michael was dealing with the debt. If only Michael hadn't made such reckless decisions, he wouldn't have found himself in this debt crisis. Without a doubt, none of this would have been possible without Elizabeth and Bella. I'm resolved to work hard every day, living happily with the two of them.